Now it's George Osborne's big day tomorrow, another one, the budget. And business leaders in this region are calling for a rethink on government spending, a freeze on fuel duty and more bank lending.
They are saying now that the time might be coming for the Chancellor to change his plan for cutting the deficit, something he has refused to do. Well, Mike O'Sullivan's been to a small business in Leicestershire to see what they want from the budget tomorrow.
They say small is beautiful, and this small information technology company employing 6 people on the edge of Leicester is doing well. But the boss here, a small business leader himself, told me the Chancellor has got to increase bank lending in the budget. Last year, the directors here were forced to put £70,000 on their own personal credit cards to win a contract. The banks ignored their calls.
We tried calling the banks, but we didn't even get an answer. They didn't even phone back. We pushed it further and further. Eventually we got to a point where we either say no to the project or we find a way to fund it ourselves. We ended up putting the funding on our own personal credit cards, and the directors exposed themselves to a lot of risk.
Elsewhere in our region, the Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire Chamber of Commerce says there should be a rethink on government spending in the budget to build a way to the recovery.
You know, if you don't have growth to go with the austerity, you're just on a downward spiral.
And where are we now in that cycle?
We're getting close to the point where we need to actually have some stimulus to growth and a move away from sort of current expenditure on unnecessary, unproductive things and towards more infrastructure investment.
This expert at the Nottingham Business School monitors the jobless figures. The number of people unemployed in our region has gone up by 58,000 since the end of 2007, when the downturn began. Government investment is now what would give the economy a shot in the arm, he believes.
Well, it's currently hard to see where else growth will come from. I mean, if you think growth can come from a balance between exports and imports, consumer spending, government spending and private investment, other than government spending, those 3 other factors are not particularly active at the moment.
Back in Leicestershire, there's a call from small businesses to freeze duty on fuel as well.
The market is pushing us all to keep our prices down, and you know, people are struggling. They're just taking cuts and cuts and cuts. Eventually it comes to a point where business is unviable because of these pressures.
50% of the firm's income comes from public sector work. They may be small, but they took on 2 new staff last year, and they want the Chancellor to help them keep on growing. Mike O'Sullivan, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicestershire.